I'm reviewing the Tektro RL340 brake levers because I do understand if you're wanting to build a neo-retro road bike, but don't like the shape or feel of the traditional vintage aero brake levers like the Shimano Super or SLR models, or maybe you have compact drop bars and want brake levers that work better with that bar shape, or if you have a single speed that you want to add brake levers to. Regardless, these levers are fantastic for any of those avenues, and I'll discuss why I recommend them so much. I have them on my 1991 Diamondback Master TG vintage steel road bike, but have the cool stem adapter to run modern compact drop bars, which are the Pro Vibe aluminum drop bars. I did have STI shifters on them, but was curious about these levers for a while and wanted to try them out. Installing them is straightforward. They tighten down like vintage aero brake levers. They also have a return spring built into them, which makes braking actuation a lot smoother. But here's the first main point I want to talk about is the rubber for the hoods. They're super solid, thick, very comfortable, and aren't loose like some other hoods out there, like my Sensa shifters, which are good, but as you can see, the rubber doesn't fit as precise as the Tektro levers. Talking about comfort again, these are awesome, especially when climbing out of the saddle on the hoods. I truly feel I can have my hands on the hoods all day and won't experience any numbness, and they let me concentrate on the climb rather than the comfort of my hands. With vintage aero brake levers, they are just straight down and don't flare out, so they can feel a bit odd to a first timer. The levers do flare out like STI shifters, so that really amplifies the control and makes one finger braking super easy and reachable in the drops. But also in the hoods, it feels natural, especially if you are used to STI shifters. The second main point I love about these levers is one of my favorite riding positions is the aero hood position. And since these kind of mirror the shape of an STI shifter, the front of the hoods do have a good anchoring position due to the shape, as you can see here. I feel absolutely secure when I get into the aero hood position. Oh, and that also means if you sprint from the hoods, they are thick enough to really grab onto and put the power down. They really make your cockpit familiar, as the view from above doesn't change too much if you're coming from STI shifters. And it does keep the cable routing clean, as you're only routing the brake cables under the bar tape. I've seen online where people say the end of the brake cable that connects to the plastic of the brakes themselves crack. But I don't really know how that happens when installing the hoods and cables properly and securely. But if that happens somehow, I will provide an update in the future if you're subscribed. For my Pro Vibe bars, I tried a lot of angles, but they wouldn't sit completely flat like my STI shifters, so there's a little dip in the transition from the bars to the hoods, but it doesn't bother me at all. There also exists the model with the silver brake levers. Overall, I highly recommend these brake levers if you're building a bike from the categories I mentioned earlier. They're budget friendly, not bulky, look amazing, and their feel and performance are top notch. I cannot say this enough. Thank you all so much for subscribing and liking my videos. And as you know, there will be more to come.